Hey, how you doing? This is Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer, who had a baby?
Jim Morris just became a grandfather.
Oh,
I
wow.
think from what I saw on Facebook. I think that was Jim.
He can't hear you. It doesn't look like you've heard it. Whoever's talking is very garbled.
Yeah, it sounds like
Could
someone's
be.
television.
Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Could be Mike Green too.
That's not me with
George,
the
mute
No, it's Jim.
somebody.
Jim's the one having all the problems.
Oh, okay.
Jim, are you at the cafe place? Can you mute?
I can't hear right now.
Okay, I'm gonna mute Jim.
I mean, I can hear you very lightly, but I'm in a noisy place.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank God it's Friday.
I know. Has everybody got their Christmas shopping done? No.
We don't do Christmas shopping anymore. We stopped
you-
that like 15
put-
years ago.
Yeah. Well, I understand. I stopped really doing it. I did open up a small wallet for my grandchildren.
Oh, that's nice.
So
I'm still
Yeah.
thinking about the death policy for my sister for a Bitcoin. So I'm gonna
Right.
probably do that in 2026.
There you go.
What wallet do you recommend for your grandchildren, George?
The
or
blue
Bob?
wallet. Pretty simple. Blue wallet. And you can do multiple wallets.
BLUE?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You bet. The authority on that is Doug Morton, so I don't think he's on the call though.
Okay. And then you just pop in whatever you want for your grandchildren?
Exactly. Yeah. And they create each wallet has a seed phrase and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, $10 for Christmas. So it works.
Okay. Do you want me to go? It's
Yeah. All right.
9:32.
So what I'm going to try to do, this of course not financial advice, and we're going to record this. And today we're going to have Jordan taking a little bit of the crypto part. Patty's going to do the regular market report. And then I'm going to give a few little ditties on world Liberty Finance, and what the Trumps are up to. And then we'll get into buying time, and what that means.
I'd like to buy some time. Okay. All right.
Understand.
Okay. The market has been pretty positive, not for the Nasdaq and the S&P so much, but the Dow since Wednesday when the Federal Reserve met and cut a quarter basis point. It looks like there's been a rotation out of tech into financials, industrials. All of the sectors have the 493 stocks on the S&P that have not done well. So the Dow is up 1.66% over the past 5 days. It went, it was a big deal to hit 47,000 this year. Now it's at 48,815 and going higher this morning. And the Russell 2000 was up. It hit an intraday high and then an all-time record end of the day high. It's over 2.38%. So I guess with the reduction in the interest rates, they figure small companies are going to be able to borrow more money to help them hopefully make a profit. So it was up 2.38%. And let's see, the S&P was only up 0.15%, and the NASDAQ less than 1%. Was somebody asking a question or saying something? Okay, I don't know. Gold and silver did great. silver outperformed gold, but gold was up 2.95%. It sorry, I didn't write the number of what it was, but silver was up 10.32%, 6
To what?
points,
$60.
64.48. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, earlier, about 4 months ago, I said it might hit 80 by December, and it seems so unrealistic. But gold, silver it's up more than 100% now for the year. Dollar is weakening, so it's down 98.50. That's about 46 cents from last Friday. The 10-year kind of flat. It went up to 4.207 on Wednesday, and again this morning it's hovering between 4.19 and 4.2. So the bonds have gone up, which is not helping the market. WTI crude is down $2 from last Friday to 57.63.
What?
57.63. That's WTI crude, not Brent crude.
Wedges?
What? Are you asking me a question?
Yeah.
Understand you. Okay. Well, I thought I'd just run through a few interesting stocks. Netflix, if you've been following that, made a bid to
It
buy.
looks like a tranny.
Looks like a what?
I don't know.
Oh, you want to put it in the chat, Alex?
So Netflix made a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, $82.7 billion. And it looked like it was a done deal about 4 or 5 days ago. But Paramount came in with a hostile bid and offered $108 billion. So it's Netflix was, remember, maybe 3 weeks ago, I told you that Netflix did a 10-to-1 split. So it went from $1,120 stock to about 114 per share. Well, once Paramount came in with its hostile bid, Netflix went down to $92 and some change. So that's the lowest it's been like since it started.
Wow.
It is trying to recover. It recovered a little bit yesterday. And it's
Patty, sorry to interrupt. Do you know who owns Paramount or a major stockholder in Paramount?
Oh yeah, David Ellison. That's the friends of Trump. So Trump announced over the weekend that he was going to get involved in this before the hostile bid was announced. But I was like, oh my Lord, here he is again helping his friends. So it's not going to be resolved more than it'll take about a year because they have to have shareholder approval, and then they have to have board approval. The WBD board. So it could drag out.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Hey,
Is CNN in that portfolio of Paramount?
Yeah,
or
Trump.
where's the CNN in in what portfolio? It's
No
not
idea.
Netflix, is it? I'm not Netflix.
No, not Netflix.
One in
Paramount.
Warner Brothers.
It's Warner
Yeah,
Brothers. That's it.
Trump wants to destroy CNN.
Well, it's certainly an asset in the portfolio. You don't destroy it.
No,
You
no.
just sort of give it
Well,
a new
basically
look, like
wants
the guy on
wants
the camera.
he doesn't want it to be basically report the truth anymore.
CNN doesn't make any money, and
CNN's
Warner
never
Brothers
reported the truth.
Warner Brothers doesn't make any money either. I have no idea why anybody wants this as an asset.
Right.
It's a vanity asset. It's not a financial asset at all. It never has been.
Yeah.
Okay, well, somebody wants it, so and I don't know if it's a makeover or whatever, but let them fight it out. I just thought I'd try and tie those loose ends together.
They want narrative control.
What's going on? Yeah,
they think this gives them control over
I don't
what
know,
stories
Mark.
are told.
There's so many other things they've got, and so many balls they've got in the air that this is just minor potatoes. I mean, really. But anyway,
It's
All right.
it's
that's
fantasy
my
money. It's
All right,
fantasy. It's a
well,
fantasy investment based on a fantasy valuation. It's fine.
all right, Miss Patty, you want to finish it up?
All
Let's
right,
talk
I'll
about
finish
gold
it
for a
up with
minute.
another Ellison story. So, in September, Oracle, also owned by the father, Mr. Ellison, he the stock popped up from like 180 to $340. Well, it retraced that once the AI bubble was being questioned, and uh, too many of the companies are like Oracle are going to the bond market to pay for their capex, and that's stuck. Oh my goodness, it's down to 194.88. It missed on revenue Wednesday night, and it has just gotten clobbered. So that's an interesting story. It brought the whole Nasdaq down on Thursday, and then the final story is Nvidia. So it received approval from the White House to sell its H200 chips to China. And the caveat of that is Trump said, oh, by the way, we're going to keep 25% of the sales. So that was bizarre.
Hasn't he done that before, though? I think he's done that before. But that is not the high-powered chip. It's not
It's not
it's
the
not the
BlackRock.
Cadillac. It's the Hyundai. Just to
Right. But still, yeah, at
But
least
just to make it clear. So I don't
Mhm.
mean to step all over you, but why don't we switch over to Jordan? I'm gonna put the timer on about 45 minutes. We'll try and wrap this baby up close to um,
Y'all hear
9:30,
me?
10:30 here. Yeah, Jordan,
Yes.
go for it,
Yeah,
buddy.
Nice,
we can
nice. Good
hear
morning,
you.
everyone. Awesome. Yeah, there's some cool things that happened in Bitcoin crypto this week. Bitcoin really kind of held that $90,000 floor there and kind of is pushing up. I think it's like 92, 93 right now. Um, no, nothing's set in stone as whether we're gonna continue this bull run that we've been on for the past couple months, really year, or if we're gonna switch over to a more bear market. They cut Fed rates earlier this week. Um, kind of showing that there might be some more liquidity getting injected to the market. And, so as far as price, I think we kind of just sit up here. There's kind of a head and shoulders pattern on like a weekly time chart. If you're into like chart prices, you can kind of see it come up, maybe it rejects off the, 102, 103,000, kind of continue bearish, or if it breaks that pattern, it can go bullish. And still tons of money being pushed into it. Michael Saylor, I know, bought some more this week. I think BlackRock has some news. That BlackRock's been doing a lot of Ethereum kind of ETFs. They're kind of based on the Ethereum ETFs. They already have all the Bitcoin ETFs, so they're kind of working on that. But also 21 Capital, Jack Mahler's, they just debuted on the stock market. And they did a single Bitcoin transaction with over 43,000 Bitcoin. So if you're looking on how easy it is to move billions of dollars in a single transaction, that was performed this week for a very low cost. And a lot of people like to see that. Kind of just shows more institutional Bitcoin being brought to the market. And also just the power of Bitcoin. If you took that same value and put it in physical gold, you're going to need a truck and an army to bring wherever that gold's going to go. And but other than that, some other news: Do Kwon, if you were part of the Terra blockchain that collapsed, I think he got 15 years. 15 years in prison was his prison sentence.
Wow.
In that crypto fallout, and we're kind of at a part. I'll be interested to see what happens over the next course of the next week.
So you think we're still
Super.
going to flatline for a little while there, Jordan, or you just don't know? I mean, nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody ever knows. I think over the holidays, it'll be quiet, But come January 1st, I feel like it's just a normal time to something's going to happen. Whether it goes up or down, the price will be ready.
Well, speaking of January, the we might want to watch it because as the federal tax returns for employees that have had money taken out from tips and from overtime wages gets returned to those people. There's going to be a lot of money, a lot of cash infusion from the federal government on their tax returns. And so it'll be interesting to see what the activity is with those rebates from the Fed. I'm not rebates, but those returns that of money coming back into the workforce.
Yeah,
That
there's
could
lots
be
of
interesting.
talks right now on large tax rebates, and as far as crypto tax, until the Clarity Act gets passed, it still seems like a lot of wild, wild west.
Yeah.
So we'll be curious to see what happens when that money comes through.
So we'll do that. Let me just talk real quickly because JR's joined us, and I want to get to that in a second. And but I want to talk about gold for a minute. And I asked Patty to. You didn't have the actual price of gold right now, but I'm just encouraging you to watch it. The United States is the largest holder of gold bullion of the central banks, followed by Germany, and then Russia and China are fifth and sixth in line, that sort of thing. Um, and see just how if it takes a little upward movement or dramatic upward movement, we'll just follow that. We've only got one more call this year, and that's next week, so won't be able to really follow it too closely, but it'll be interesting if you just keep it on your radar during the course of the rest of the year and into January.
I can give you the numbers, George. They're on the screen. Okay, so gold is at an all-time high. It's $4,367 today and some change, about to hit 4,368. And so for 1 year, it's up $1,659. It's just an upward slope, like you're climbing a mountain.
Silver.
Oh, that was gold, but silver's
It was
done
amazing.
even better. Hold on, I've got the silvers. Let me just hit for one year.
Silver's up like 120% this year.
Okay, well, I just did 1 year on the chart. 104% in the past year. It's up $32.86. So I guess their beginning number was 31.62. So today's price is 64.46, and it's going up again today.
All right. So thank you both. And let me just jump here right quickly and jump into one of the things I'd asked about was just some recapping of what World Liberty Finance was doing. Let me just give you a couple little things that I just found earlier today, and that was they are going to launch their real world asset project, tokenizing a suite of products, and they're going to do that first of the year. So that's it's on the drawing board, and it'll be working. They're also gonna tie their stable coin to Apple Pay, and this is not in the United States initially. I think they're going to do it in Asia. I think that's where they've got a lot of focus. So they're going to be tying their stable coin to Apple Pay to make it a retail transactional vehicle. So just kind of a couple of things to watch from those two. I think what they do gets emulated by some other folks. Anyway, that's just my little update on the World Liberty Finance. And for those of you who don't know, that's the Trump organization, the boys. Then I'm gonna pivot here right quickly to JR because he's joined us and get him to, of course, tell us who he is. And also, we want to see what's going on in DC. We've been talking about stable coins, and we know there's something stuck in the Senate with a market structure bill, and that's gotten kind of, in my opinion, it's gotten kind of wonky. And JR, are you still with us? Yeah,
Yep,
you
I'm
are.
good.
Yeah. So you want to just give us sort of an
I
update?
got
What's
you,
going on
George.
with stable coins? Thank you, sir.
Yep. So I'm JR Schroeder. I'm Congressman William Timmons' legislative director in DC, but born and raised in Greenville. I know most of y'all. Anyways, so crypto in DC right now is very interesting. So we passed the Genius Act for stablecoins through the House and Senate back in the spring. The president signed it, and so for the House side at least, we've been working a lot with regulators on kind of implementing it from the OCC to CFTC to all the different regulatory agencies for banks, for issuers, and so on. So it's been a very interesting journey in figuring out how that's going and how to make sure that the rules of the road are in the regulators. Then on the market structure piece, um, the House Financial Services Committee wrote and then passed the Clarity Act for market structure with 87 Democrats in the House floor, sent it to the Senate with very strong bipartisan support. And the Senate is doing what the Senate does and taking its time and building its own bill and having all different lobbying interests and issues with the Ag Committee on that side. So they've been working on this bill for about 5 months now, and about 3 months too long. So
Right.
for us, there's not a whole lot we can do on the House side other than sit and wait and see what their final product is and where they are. But at the end of the day, I think our piece of legislation, the Clarity Act, is a very good format for what this should look like and what we should regulate the the crypto, the issuers, and the crypto industry as a whole under. So right now it's a lot of sit and wait for us, but staying up to date as much as we can.
Anybody want to ask JR a couple of questions?
I would
Yeah,
if I'm. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, JR. So, Paul Flick here, and couple of things I caught on Twitter and people that, well, one is a representative and another gentleman who I follow is Paul Barron. Paul's comment yesterday, which was shared in the group chat, related to the market structure bill being, in quotes, a rug pull, because there's going to be there's going to be ceding of certain demands to what it says here to treat software developers or development companies like financial institutions, and therefore really killing DeFi to protect Wall Street. Do you have any thoughts on that, or do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I read a lot of that. So, one, the bill that we built in the House has none of that. He would never blame a rug pull and a handout to Wall Street on what we established. And secondly, the big conversation in the Senate is one, you need to understand there's not a final bill yet. So this is just speculation that he's going on. And it's true that, for a long time, big banks and traditional financial institutions didn't weren't necessarily lobbying against crypto legislation, but weren't involved much at all just because they didn't really have skin in the game. But I think in the past year and a half, it's swayed tremendously to the point that they know this is coming and are gonna play a big factor in this. And so they're doing everything they can to get the best legislation they can. And at this time, that's working with the Senate to get their provisions into it. So while I agree that Wall Street is lobbying very hard to get what they want and get their best version of it. There's not a final package right now, and the Senate doesn't have, you know, final final say on what it's going to be. But I hear you.
Reba, do you want to go? I have one other question, but I'll let you go if you want to go.
I'll go after you, Paul. Thank you.
Okay. Gentlemen, this is Representative Keith Self posted about CBDCs.
Hmm.
They were initially supposed to include language. I know Trump signed the executive order prohibiting CBDCs. There was a request or a push to include anti-CBDC language in the Genius Act. And what Keith Self says is that they're already being built in secret. Now, I think the one trade-off was that there was supposed to be language around anti-CBDCs in the NDAA. And what Keith Self says here is that it's stuff being worked around, kind of in background. He mentions Project Hamilton.
Yeah, let me just explain it. Let me just explain it. So the NDAA is a much broader political debate and conversation than, any crypto bill or anything. So NDAA traditionally is anything that has to do with national defense, especially Pentagon funding.
Right.
So the Senate attached this very moderate to liberal large housing package called the Road to Housing. I don't know if y'all followed that, but it's a huge housing package to the NDAA, which is not what conservatives in the House wanted. So kind of as a negotiator, um, Chairman Hill and the House leadership, anti-CBDC Act is a huge priority for us. And it's good legislation that ensures that we do not have central bank digital currencies. So originally, when the NDAA was being built, both Road to Housing and anti-CBDCs, which is a very conservative priority, were attached to the NDAA, but the Senate did not want anti-CBDC, so we stripped out the Road to Housing package. So what ended up happening is both of them fell off. So housing's a different conversation, obviously, but it's still a priority for the chairman to have anti-CBDC passed into law.
Okay. Reva?
Okay.
You want to
Thank
take
you.
that?
Hasn't there been an amendment made to the NDA yesterday, for the anti-CBDC?
No, it already
I think I
passed.
saw it somewhere. No?
Go ahead.
I'm
I got
mistaken.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
I got to roll.
Uh,
Right,
uh,
Reva?
if I could just please ask about the timing on what do you think will come out of the Senate, if anything, this year, and then where does it roll into next year? What exactly would the next steps be?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. They've given multiple different timelines, and they've never met those timelines. And there's a lot of infighting among Democrats on where some of this should be. And now that the banks are really lobbying about this stablecoin yield issue, um, for the market structure bill, the timeline keeps getting pushed more and more. So I think what you're going to start seeing is House members and House leadership, putting more and more pressure on them and using the administration to say, clarity, the bill that we already passed the House is a better version than what they have. Um, so I guess they're saying their timeline is now February and March, but I think as time goes on, you're going to see more and more pressure for them to just take what we have, and work from that instead of trying to fight amongst each other on what works and what doesn't.
All right,
Thank you.
great. Listen, JR, thank you for being with us. You said you had to
Thanks.
run. Anybody else want a real quick question?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I love the up-to-date information.
Yeah,
Of
thank you.
Hot
course.
off the
Yeah.
press.
So thank you. I don't know what we're going to do next week, but that we do have a crypto party here in Columbia. If you want to come down next Thursday, that's the 18th. It's 5:30 down on Main Street. I'm going to send you the invite, but if we don't see you, we wish you a Merry Christmas, and please think about joining us next year for a conversation with JR.
Of course. Thank y'all.
All right, thanks.
All right, man. Thank you. All right. Well, that was great.
Well, okay, so I didn't want to ask a question because JR was in a hurry, but what's the end result if they pass the Clarity Act for the banks? Maybe Reba could answer that.
Well, we don't know because we don't know to what extent the bank lobbyists will get additional provisions in the Clarity Act affecting the Genius Act. So the banks want to make it very clear that not only can a stablecoin issuer not have yield attached with its stablecoin, but no affiliate can do so either.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so
that's a big
why
issue.
would they not want the and you say yield is like a dividend or interest accumulation?
Interest or other or something akin to interest like
Yeah.
rebates, rewards, the like. And the reason the banks don't want it is because it then creates direct competition with
Yes.
deposits.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And stable coins already are impacting deposits in the bank. So,
Right.
yeah. So, because, and that's interesting because some people thought, well, we'll have the stable coins and then we'll put it into a portfolio and loan that portfolio out of stable coins, and then we can give those people that gave us their stable coins a return. So what you're saying is the aren't able to issue a return of their stable coins if they.
Well,
If
yeah.
they're
Well,
not.
right now, some
Yeah.
stablecoin issuers are taking
Yes.
the position that they can have affiliates.
Coinbase and Circle, for instance, you can stake
Yeah.
and
hmm
they'll give you a reward on it.
Yeah.
So you buy now, like if you buy Tether on Coinbase, if that's possible, you can stake it and you can earn interest, and they're trying to disallow that. The banks.
Correct.
Yep.
Huh.
That's good, Pat.
What is better for someone who owns the stable coin?
The ability to have yield.
Competition.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Gotcha.
Take it to Asia where they don't have those rules. Follow the Trumps.
Yeah, the banks are a little concerned about the competition here,
Oh, yeah.
considering
Very
the
good,
difference
Dennis.
between sticks and bricks and virtual offices and such. It's kind of amazing. The
But isn't that the
difference in
whole point?
infrastructure that's necessary.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So we don't have to have a physical brick bank.
Yeah, but you're just switching bankers. That's all you're doing. But you're also switching the methodology by which you conduct your trade. And it's highly dependent upon sophisticated computers, sophisticated computer networks, a bunch of people who are, quote, decentralized, which as we can tell is a lie, right? Large mining farms.
Yeah.
Rather than a banking structure that's the most regulated system in the United States is the banks, right? And so
Who
that has
follow those
pluses and minuses on
regulations
both
to
sides.
the teeth.
So
Well,
They
I gotta
never
tell
get
you,
caught doing anything nefarious. Those
I
bankers.
feel like every time I walk into a bank, I'm actually walking into an antique store now. And,
Yes.
and as far as,
wouldn't trade any of my credit unions.
Establishment. And so what I foresee is that the banks will eventually be more like the Apple store, where you'll walk, because right now, I mean, there's nobody in a bank anyway. You get met at the door by the manager. He
Yeah.
greets you. He refers you to who you're supposed to go see. I mean, the next thing you know, they're going to be selling product. They're going to be showing people how to access your digital wallet. Obviously,
Right.
you might end up with a little 5-minute seminar. You go sit in a room and watch a little video, that type of thing. I mean,
They'll do that too.
It's
They're a large
huge
organization.
migration.
They're not going away overnight, Dennis.
No,
and
not
so
by any means.
they'll adopt
Exactly.
all that too. They'll
Yeah.
just add to it.
And they're going to issue securitized deposits.
Right. And there's going to be acquisitions. I mean, the only way they can get into this business now is either develop their own software or acquire companies. I mean, we're going to see massive consolidation, I would think, in this industry as well as
That's what
broadening
Reba
it,
said when she talked
Yeah.
about what the conference was in Charlotte.
Right.
They'll
Either
develop.
build or you
They'll
buy.
develop their own. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't understand. Banks have very large software divisions. Very large. They
Yeah,
they
but they're
love
all
to build
focused on
software.
compliance right now. I mean, it's all about compliance. It's not developing new products.
Well, they have the best compliance departments anywhere, except maybe insurance companies. But actually, I think banks have better compliance departments. The people who aren't prepared for compliance departments are the techies who built crypto companies. That's why they keep getting in trouble and going to jail.
World Liberty Finance has one of the best compliance departments there is.
That's right. Our board member. That's
Along
right.
those lines, can I just report that
Randy. Yeah, go ahead.
JP Morgan stock got hit this week when Jamie Dimon mentioned at a conference, hey, just want everybody to know we're going to spend about $105 billion in 2026 for build out. And I'm sure a lot of the money is going to go to things like this.
Wow.
Trying to keep up. And stock went down, way down.
Funny thing about that is that that was also the same day that silver prices spiked. And what is JP Morgan known for doing? Because they've gotten fined for it before, manipulating and shorting the silver market. So maybe part of that loss is to cover their shorts.
Maybe so. I don't know.
I made a couple of comments on Twitter related to that. I said, funny how this is aligning with a spike in silver prices, and maybe there's a write-off here in store.
Right. Can I just chime in? Because I think, Patrick, I just want to say, if we measure year to date on the silver price, it is up almost 116.5%. So you might have been looking at the year to date, and I was just doing 1 year. Yeah.
So what's my fork worth? My knife?
With silver.
If it's plated silver, not as much. I don't know.
A silver quarter is worth $10 to $12 right now, melt value.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. I mean, I got a little my childhood collection of silver coins with like all the
Don't sell it yet. It's going higher.
No, I'm not selling. I've kept it this long.
All right. Well, let me do this. Let me pivot a little bit from this exciting conversation, which is great. But I wanted to sort of start this conversation, which I posted when I sent out the flyer on the topics today, was what I call the landscape of where we are right now. And I'm looking for some feedback and as ideas. We had some of this last week, but anyway, so the landscape is how it's perceived, I think, in some corners. The USA peacetime debt is astronomical, and the feds are cutting the rates, but it's with sticky inflation. And then the foreign demand for treasuries is waning. And if we know that. But anyway, energy and trade are pregnant. They're just crazy. And then the US dollar is losing its status. I think if you don't agree with any of these, just chime in. But then we're going to cut you off anyway. But just kidding. And more oil is being traded in non-US dollars. So they can't raise the rates without detonating the debt. And you can't print more dollars endlessly without breaking confidence. So what's the solution to this debt? And the answer is we need to buy some time to get some structure here. But anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to sort of lay out get some input from y'all. Somebody had said we just don't pay back anyway. I've had a number of comments.
It's not a solution. Whoever said that. That is not a solution.
But Russia did it, right? And so what's going to happen right now, pretty clearly, is Europe's going to go to war. They're going to try to get money from us to go to war. They actually overtly threatened this, right? They said, no, if you're going to do peace in Ukraine,
we're not going to do that, Mark.
But Europe really wants to go to war a lot, and they don't have the money to fund it, which is fine. They're trying to get it from us.
They have Russian money. They have Russian sanctioned money and assets.
Right, but they want our money to go after Russia.
But that doesn't help us anything. What's that got to do?
Sure it does, because we can just say no. We're not paying the notes.
Dollar-denominated stable coins.
There you go. That's one. Dollar denominated or treasury denominated?
Well, treasury, okay. USD denominated,
not
in
gold.
Whatever form.
Okay. All right. Anybody else wants to add?
And then quantitative easing, which is what the government has just started doing this week.
Yeah.
I say a revaluation.
Only two ways out of debt is either you make more money to pay off debt or you reduce your expenses. And our government is not willing to reduce its expenses. We continue to elect people who say they want to, but they end up spending more.
Or you don't pay it, or you wait for inflation to solve the problem.
Yeah, but
those are the other two options. There's not ever only two options.
But
that's not true.
In a system where the amount of money is unlimited and you give politicians and Washington access to that, the spending is never going to go down.
That's not an excuse.
No, that's true. The spending probably can't go down easily anytime soon, but the spending has gone down before, so that thesis is historically
Well, I think
inaccurate.
part of the spending is these what's the Social Security and the Medicare, those.
And the big beautiful
What-
tax bill.
Yeah, I mean
Yep.
they all are baked into the budget, and they have to pay those. So you can't. There's a very small part of the budget that's actually able to be
Manipulated.
crafted
Yeah.
or trimmed down.
About 25% is
Yeah.
what they have
The
to
rest of it is
allocate.
pretty much
Yeah,
done.
75% is what Georgia's mandates that they
Yeah,
must
mandates.
pay.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Is
So,
defense spending in the mandate bucket?
Yeah.
The Fed spending.
right.
I don't know.
Well,
But
I
y'all
don't.
say yes?
I
Okay.
would say defense spending is in
defense
the
spending.
mandate. Yeah.
No. I don't think defense isn't mandated.
Defense is in discretionary spending.
Let's see.
Well, not all of it, Les.
The
I
whole
think
defense
typically
budget is in
the way we do
discretionary.
The way we do the state budget is you have a base budget. Okay. So they know they're going to pay a certain amount of billions of dollars to pay for education, all of the state agencies.
The mandate.
And then we know how much income tax, all the taxes and fees that are collected by the state or Department of Treasury. And that's where you get the extra money for the year that it's going to be recurring funds or non-recurring funds. So there's always a base with every federal agency. And then they request money on top of that. They're not ever asking, hey, I'd like to cut my budget. So that's how it usually works.
I'm speaking as a sort of what would you call it? I'm not an expert, but I would say that by analogy at the Fed level, there used to be a requirement that if the tax laws were changed, there had to be a reconciliation with expenses, and that went away. And so now we passed the big, beautiful tax bill, which increases the deficit by a huge amount, but we don't have any offsetting reduction in expenditures, so that we've increased I don't know how much, but by trillions we've increased
$2 or $3 trillion.
Well, whoever spoke up and said defense is discretionary is correct. Defense spending is a major part of discretionary spending, meaning Congress must actively approve it each time it works on an appropriation bill, unlike mandatory spending, and the example is Social Security, which happens automatically.
And they
Thank you.
The NDA, isn't that what we're talking about? The one that JR mentioned, the National Defense Act,
Yeah.
that they try to tag all this stuff onto.
That's annual spending.
All right, so we hadn't really gotten to solving this problem with the debt, which we have managed to pass down at least 1 to 2 generations. So are we going to take responsibility, or are we just going to leave it to them to figure it out?
Well, you and I are not going to, but our little group isn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that is why the 10-year yield continues to climb. The bond market is saying our interest payments are too high. We're having a hard time making the $1 trillion interest payment.
Yeah.
And that is what the bonds is say. We're worried, do something.
Okay. Well, let's then, because we've got about 15 minutes, 13 minutes left. So let's talk about gold for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to see if we can maybe manage this conversation a little bit. We own more gold than any other central bank in the world. And does anybody want to take a stab at what the value of each ounce is in the
44, 42, something like that?
about $42. And what's the current price of gold?
4,200.
So about
It's close to 4,400, 4,368.
gosh, and I'm telling you, gonna be 5,000. But anyway, no, that's not financial advice by any means. But
4379. It just went up again. My God.
yeah.
I mean,
So,
George, so
what's the
my
imbalance there? Well, and there is a theory that I'm driving towards. If anybody wants to take sort of
I would
explain
say
the
that the
theory.
solution
Sure,
to our
George.
spending and all this stuff that we're talking about is a revaluation and moving back towards how our Constitution says money should be issued. It should be issued by the Treasury, it should be backed by something. And, you fix the money, you fix a lot of these problems that we're talking about. You fix, the dollar losing 97% of its value since 1913. I mean, what is the end game for fiat? There has to be one. And if we put our head in the sand, then that's, I think gold and metals are screaming that something like that is going to happen.
But I think if you look at what FDR did, right, where they pegged the value of gold to a specific value of dollars, for decades, actual decades. Gold was not worth any more or less dollars for decades. It didn't move relative to the dollar. What they're doing is your financial system that you transact dollars in has nothing to do with how countries settle their debt, right? And so when they price gold at whatever they price gold at, that's the price on the market that they're using to pay back debt. All they have to do is reprice the gold. That's actually what happened at Bretton Woods.
Right.
Two things happened at Bretton Woods, and everyone's focusing on one of them, and they're not even right about that because you couldn't transact in the United States in gold anyway. It was illegal from FDR onward, right? Because they were reserving currency, gold, for the transfer of debt obligations. I'm sorry, the resolution of debt obligations or something.
Right.
I'm not a banker, right? Between countries. That's what Bretton Woods was about. It had nothing to do with you and I. That's why it didn't have any noticeable effect on the economy.
But
directly. It was an indirect effect from the effects of trade when they repriced the gold, not when they changed the rules about gold. When they actually repriced the gold, that's what had the effect. But it was a downstream effect. It took a long time.
So there are a lot of things that do happen when you are involved in that. But let's go back to the difference, the price difference between what gold is today versus what it's valued at. I guess it's in the Treasury, or it's in Fort Knox, or it doesn't exist. But anyway,
doesn't exist.
But anyway, I'm just trying to what would just think about if we revalued. Then again, there's this theory out there. It's been hashed around a number of different platforms. If you revalued it to today's worth, or maybe a future worth, if you wanted a little bit more, anybody want to sort of think about what might happen?
That's Bretton Woods. That's what Nixon did.
Well, I'm just
He
going down
repriced the
to
gold.
what happens if you revalue it?
What are we talking about? Revalue what? The dollar?
No, revalue the price of gold.
I think George is trying to
telling me
back
what the
into
price
the
is.
idea that we'd use the gold to pay off the debt.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah.
We don't have enough gold to pay off our debt.
No.
That's not
Well,
what the price of gold is.
well, let's talk about debt for a second. So there's $38 trillion of debt. But what we're really concerned with is the foreign debt. And meaning China, Japan, those places. And so that's not the $38 trillion that we're talking about. We're talking about a third of that in terms of when you look at foreign debt. So just and revaluing gold to the present day value will not pay off even the foreign debt. It'll impact it, but it won't pay it off. But all of a sudden, you've got how many dollars go into the treasury now when you revalue gold?
Why are you revaluing it? It tells you what the price is, just like we look at the price of Bitcoin. Or revalue it in what
They
way?
they don't trade it that way at all. Like there's a set value for gold. That's what Bretton Woods was. It was setting the value for gold. So the whole time everybody was looking at the gold markets between the time FDR was in office and the time Bretton Woods happened. The way the U.S. priced gold never changed. The price of gold per dollar never changed once.
Now, I don't know if this is if it's a legislative thing. I think it is a legislative thing, but I'm not going to even try and go down that road of why it won't happen. I'm just trying for you to think how we could get out of this mess. And we've got an asset there called gold that could bring us a bunch of money if you revalued it. And you might revalue it at today's value, or you may gradually revalue it today and then at future price. But anyway.
But that would all just be a book entry. It doesn't
exactly.
So
it's just
so I don't see how that pays down the debt at all.
Well, then what you do is this money, I mean, now you take that and you start buying back those treasuries.
Yeah, look, I mean, Europe, all the European countries already did this after World War II. Like this has already happened several times. So we know how
it is today and what we could do. And I understand this historic perspective on this. And
this problem has been fixed before. It's probably going to get fixed the same way again. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it could be fixed.
Well, we're going to go down that path, and that's what these 2 weeks are. This conversation and next week's conversation.
Let Rita say something.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I'm just throwing this out here. With the ability to tokenize anything and the ability to tokenize gold, there is a possibility, I guess, for the U.S. to have its gold reserves tokenized and then use that as collateral to restructure its debt.
There you go. At what value, though, for that?
It would be market value. It would be whatever the market value is.
Exactly.
Well, no, they never do that. They always have their own market. At the country level, they always have their own gold price.
And that's what they
never transact on the regular market. Right, the regular market's just fake paper anyway. Almost
no, they do transact on the regular market. When the central banks add gold to their reserves, they're buying it in the market at the market price.
to prop up the value. Right, they're taking paper off the table from people who don't really realize what's happening. Right.
Okay.
And to prop up the market. But when they go to negotiate debt, like England did with us after the war, they're transacting that in actual gold, not in paper ever. But I think you're right. I mean, they could retokenize it and do what they did in Bretton Woods and just price the tokens differently. But now you have a tokenization of a paper asset tied to a real world asset, maybe, unless Fort Knox is empty, which a lot of people think it is.
Yeah, where's the audit?
Well,
yeah.
I'd like to know, why is gold going up and Bitcoin is flat as a pancake?
Because Bitcoin's not tied to anything ever.
In a quick answer, there is an effort, I believe, to make gold more of a player in the world finance market. And Bitcoin going up and front running that effort is not productive to getting gold where it needs to be in our financial system.
They couldn't affect that anyway, because I mean the only advantage Bitcoin has is decentralization. So no one could manipulate that if they wanted to. But what you can do is manipulate what Michael Saylor's doing, because he's trading futures. Okay. Right, he's trading futures off of the Bitcoin. That's effectively what he's doing, but you can't do it directly. It's just a side effect that Bitcoin isn't tied to anything and can't be, because it's an imaginary.
So we understand all that, and that's been the argument about Bitcoin for how long? Since 2008, 9?
It's still true. I mean, if you just do charts, it's not correlated to anything.
All right. So anyway, if we look at revaluing the price of gold, then all of a sudden the Treasury it's been estimated between 800 billion to $1 trillion. And it depends what you'd put it at, what mark you'd have. Anyway, so all of a sudden we've got this. And then I think what we do is we spend it not by giving anybody a $2,000 check, but spending it by buying back the treasuries that are out there, reducing our debt a little bit. not a lot, but bringing back those treasuries. And then what do we do with them? Now we've got them. We reissue them to stablecoin companies.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so buy those treasuries to support, and the stablecoins are going to go crazy. I mean, we already know that. And they've got to have some treasuries to back it. Of course, you got to keep this full faith and credit of the United States on solid ground. But anyway, that's another. So, do you see where I'm going with this? Just a little bit. I don't want to do the whole thing because there's another whole part to it to finish up. But I'm just throwing it out there. I got some an economic club I'm going to be with on Tuesday, and I want to see what they're not going to talk about this. But I'm like, I'm going to be listening to see what they have to say about the debt because that's the focus of the conversation. But anyway, so we're about out of time.
I'll be
And
curious
George's about out of breath.
if you report back what their solutions are.
Yeah, I will. All right, let's wrap it up. Think about it. Revaluing the price of gold gives us some money. What do we
I have
do
a
with it?
question.
Sure.
Is stablecoins going to kill the Bitcoin market? So everybody starts focusing on stablecoins and Bitcoin kind of goes to the wayside?
I think
Stablecoins have no upside.
I
Only
think
Bitcoin does.
I mean, obviously the primary use case right now for Bitcoin is the store value,
Yeah,
you know, and then transactional, obviously.
yeah.
Hey, real quick, posted the invitation to the Luma, the updated invitation in the chat. We have Alan Wilson, who's confirmed that he'll be joining us. We'll have an opportunity to share some of our crypto moments with the Attorney General running for governor. You know, I've posted also the AI train wreck article that the op-ed in Fitz News that we had published this week, calling out the state sovereignty issue with the AI executive order. That was actually the executive order was posted yesterday.
Yeah.
We're responsive. There's another document that I put together this morning on how our AI BTC policy initiative, everything dovetails very nicely actually into the executive order. So it actually, you know, provides an opportunity for South Carolina to lead, you know, in an innovation economy as opposed to being restricted, you know, and having funds cut off,
Dennis,
you know, for broadband. So
let's push the Christmas party coming up Thursday so we can talk about it on Friday.
I want to thank Patty for her contribution.
Yeah,
Mike, I
thank
think
you,
is
Patty,
left.
for being a host.
Obviously, yeah, we've got Metafied AI
And I think Mike Green
as our host. Yeah,
is going to
I
be
think
a
Mike
host.
just
Is he
left.
on the call still?
Mike just
I
left.
don't
Yeah.
think so. But anyway, so it's going to be downtown on Main Street across from City Hall at the corner of Laurel and Main Street. It's called Ambrosia. I think Dennis has got a full bar set up and some food for us. I think it's going to
I
be
think we're doing beer and wine on this one. I don't
okay.
remember. Yeah, we'll
Well,
work that
okay.
out. Yeah, one way or
So,
the other. There'll be
smart
something to
move.
drink. There'll be
Smart
something to
move.
drink. So
It's a Greek place. It's got excellent food, and it's got a very intimate sort of area where I think we're going to be congregating and sharing stories. And I hope to see some Charleston people and some people outside of Columbia at the event. And then we've got a couple
yeah, I
of
think we've got Jerry coming in with his wife,
I
and
think that'd
they're
be
coming in from
great. I think,
Greenville.
if we can get Brandy or anybody, any of that Jonathan, any of that crowd from upstate, that'd be great. I hope some Charleston folks and Keith, you should come up here too. I know you're like down on the coast there, but anyway, Patty will be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Reba, you live up in snow country, so we don't expect you to be there.
Fortunately, I won't be able to be there.
Oh,
But yeah, so
Maybe in
that's
January, Reba. Maybe in
Yes.
January.
Yes.
maybe another
We'll have a
Charlotte
special
visit.
event just for you coming through.
All right, so let's just call this.
Real quickly, I'm going to send a little
Yeah.
teaser here. While we were on the call, I have confirmation from our who's going to be our keynote speaker in our March event. You know, we're looking at March 2nd to March 4th as a date right now. Still looking at venues, but I am very excited. You know, I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet. We'll do that
Okay,
next
good.
week. All right.
I think his first name's John, but that's okay.
Nope.
Well,
No, I missed it.
No. No.
Guess wrong again. Okay.
would you like a market
Exciting.
update before we go? Oh my God. Bitcoin is down almost $1,500.
Yeah.
NASDAQ is down 1.22%, Dow Jones 0.07, S&P almost 1%. My God, I don't understand. Hopefully Monday the Santa Claus rally is going to come because this has been painful.
Wow. Well, it went up 600 points yesterday. So down, it's only down, that's the Dow went up 600. It's only down 26 points. So,
The thing to
invests
watch
in
out
the-
for next week is Bank of Japan. If they hike, that could unwind the entire yen carry trade, and
yeah.
I think the whole system could unravel.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Definitely watch that carry trade.
Well, that's not in line
Is
with
that
the dollar.
Wednesday? Is that Wednesday, Paul? I think next Wednesday.
Sometime next week. I want to
Yeah.
say it's the 17th. Yeah, so which is Wednesday. Yeah.
Damn it. The moon hits the black moon Lilith that day. Shit. FYI,
No, see you guys.
Monday, Mars moves into Capricorn, which usually is good for making money. So I was like, yay, Santa Claus rally. But
Well,
Wednesday
Tesla's
could
up.
unravel it all. Mm.
Tesla's up. Everything else is down. Getting ready to sell my Tesla. Bye, y'all. No.
Bye.
Y'all
Hey,
have a
hey,
great
Have a
George.
nice
weekend,
weekend.
and
George,
we'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Merry Christmas.
Hey,
Thank
George,
you all.
real
There you
Merry
go.
quick.
Christmas to everybody.
George, real quick. Where was the party going to be next week?
Ambrosia. It's at the corner of
Ambrosia.
Laurel and Main across from City Hall.
Yeah, Ambrosia. All right,
I'll
great.
send you the invite, Kirk.
Wow.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Patty.
Bye.
Bye.